New on Curiosity Stream.
Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean you can't.
Watch Earth's greatest minds forge our path to a better tomorrow. It's engineering the future. And Jaws, Star Wars, The Godfather, E.T. The biggest movies have even bigger music. From King Kong to The Dark Knight. See how musicians scored Hollywood's greatest hits on great film composers' music of the movies. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Hey, Ola, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Our question, what was the most unique rule of the house growing up? And here come those emails from the Men's Room at KISW.com.
You've got mail. You've got mail.
Well, and gentlemen, few rules growing up. One of the big ones was do not touch my dad's Diet Coke. Another one was I was peeing in the bathtub but not taking a bath. My mom said not to pee in the tub. I said, there ain't no sign. She said, if I put one up, will you stop? I said, yes, but you might want to put one in the shower as well. Rock and LARP on, bitches. P.S. Thrill, if you've got the Oculus Quest 2, you should grab Beat Saber. It's like Rock Band with lightsabers.
I think my son may have downloaded that one. They were real excited about it. No offense to Beat Saber. I know what it is. I've seen the commercials. That one did not appeal to me as much as the straight up Star Wars one where I just got to fight Darth Vader. And I lost.
Oh, you took an L?
Dude, it's
He's a
weird.
Jedi.
So listen, but here's the weird thing about the Oculus, right? So it's virtual reality, blah, blah, blah. You put it on and all these different characters come up. They say whatever crap they're going to say. At some point, Vader shows up. It's intimidating even in Oculus. I know he's not there. I know he's a fake character, but it's like, this is kind of goddamn scary.
Is it like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? You got to build up to him?
You do. There's a couple little tutorial things you can do, and now I'm kind of back at the beginning again going through the process. So I'm taking all the easy marks, and then I'll get back to Vader and lose again.
Mm-hmm. Growing up, the rule my parents had is that any clothes my siblings and I had, they had to buy on a clearance sale. Didn't matter if it was the beginning of the school year, if I ripped my jeans or had a hole in my shoe, it had to be on sale. Being a kid in junior high, growing into a 6'5" size body with size 14 shoes, this was incredibly difficult as my size was rarely even in stock, being sold new. I still hate shopping for clothes. Keep on rocking. That from B-Dub. Guys, growing up with our grandparents, they were gone, they were gone for the day, and Mom was, no jumping on the beds. That from the Elk Plain Drifter.
I told my kids, hey, don't jump on the bed. Stop jumping on the bed. 2 minutes later, my son runs out and says, daughter's not doing so well. She jumped off the bed and hit the back of her head on one of the metal legs. Cut it open, had to go to the emergency room, the whole thing. I mean, she was fine, but anyway, the next day I'm like, all right, so when we tell you not to jump on the bed, do you understand why? They said yes. Has not been a problem since.
Okay. Guys, we had a thin steel pot with a bent lid that was only allowed to be used for popcorn. I couldn't find another pot, so I used it to boil eggs. The pot got too hot and folded into itself. I was grounded for a week. Let's move on to the birthday request, guys. Ola, guys, and Happy New Year, gentlemen. My son Kai enters his last year as a teenager today. Could not be more proud of the young man he's become. That said, let's have a little fun and give me your penis is too small. And Coach Ted giving him some S for not going to LSU. And all the fun he's going to miss out on down at the Bayou. By the way, Ted, hope you like the beer. That from Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy, first of all, I love the Trim A. I honestly, this one just hits Coach in the heart, man.
I think you should have seen Ted's face.
Right, if you have the opportunity to go to LSU, you go.
Yes.
104,000 people, the original Death Valley,
Right.
But a night game in Death Valley, it never rains. I mean, I still have pictures from when I went down there. I still text a guy at least twice a year that I met down at an LSU tailgate, coded blue, and he always texts me back. How the Smith boys do it. Good people, delicious food. Also, the first place I had boudin.
Did he ever invite you back? Does he say, man, if you're ever back down, man, come on back down
Every
to the
year.
tailgate?
Every year. This guy invites us back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, LSU's a great time, man. Oh, man. Jesus.
Boy, did you blow it.
Yeah,
kids
I
feeling
think your
kinda
dad
bad
doesn't
about
have like a brewery based around that stuff. Go Brewing. Spelled the French way.
Oh, really?
Gaux.
Yeah, down in Auburn.
Okay.
Delicious beer.
Pacholos, can I please get a birthday shout out to my son, Sean? He's 34 today, lives in South Carolina with his better half and 5 kids.
Damn.
His mom, brothers, and I miss him very much. Can you please give him a big old bong rip and the dirty Germans telling him how great the Washington weed is, since he can no longer get any weed. Thanks so much, guys. That from Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, I did not realize that your father was so famous. But of course you miss that Washington bud. Usually we say something about the sex, but you have 5 kids. I think you are well schooled in that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he misses any bud. But yeah, so Washington stuff is delicious. Let's think of some of my favorites right now.
Yeah.
Skittles. Zittles.
Zittles?
It's like Skittles, but it's with a Z. I'm never sure how to say
You
it.
haven't done Western culture pre-rolled marijuana yet?
This gentleman does not buy too many pre-rolls.
Oh.
He's old school.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Pacholos, want to wish my husband Scott a very happy birthday. Would you please give him a big old bong rip and the dirty Germans talking about dachshunds? He has 2 that drive him crazy named Fritz and Tater. Thanks, guys, from Sandra.
Yeah, I do not know too much about these dogs, but I love the names. Oddly enough, they share names with my testicles. Fritz and Tater.
Yeah, so you know what's funny? Because I just call mine the Tots. So you ready for the Tots?
Yeah, the Twat twins.
Guys, my name's Eric, pronounced Dangle. I am 50 years old today. I sent in a birthday shout-out for a bunch of friends and family members, but never get one in return, so I'm doing it myself. Not looking for sound bites. Just tell me the following. Dangle, you're an amazing husband, a great father and grandfather, and you got a big crank. Thanks for all the love.
And a hell of a lieutenant.
All right, guys, here we go. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you, to you, to you. Bitches.
Ya's a Dirty Germans brought to you by Men's Room Original Sausage. Available through Uli's World Famous Sausage, mensroomlive.com, and other fine retailers. Schweinefly.
Couple of extra emails, guys. The subject is farts. Happy New Year, Bacholas. The show right before the year in Spectacular 2020 was the funniest ever. In case you forgot, this is the show that Thrill blew up the studio continuously with his farts. It was so funny that I would like to propose this. From now on every December, Thrill shall receive a gallon of eggnog to be kept in the studio refrigerator. This way the fun can continue for years to come. Thank you, guys. That from Paul, your loyal listener in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Appleton, Wisconsin. What's cracking in Wisconsin?
All the shows, whether it was a birthday or Christmas, my most memorable Christmas gift was my parents always tried to get my brother and I something practical, something useful. Handful of years ago, my mom got us funeral plots.
Jesus.
They're usually kind of expensive, and apparently she found a great deal on Craigslist. Gotta love divorce sales. Sincerely, from the White, Ray Charles.
Thanks,
this year,
Mom.
He says, P.S. They got me a vacuum. That's not a bad gift.
I think the grave plot, you start thinking about stuff. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that my mom wants me dead.
Yeah. Oh, gentlemen, catching up on the podcast here at radio.com. You guys had a caller who said he had to lay off the whiskey after drinking a half gallon a day of R&R. And you guys were talking about how everyone has to give up whiskey, it seems, is on R&R. As far as is it Rich and Royal? Royal and
Rich and Reserve?
Rich and Reserve. Either way.
No one's even sure.
No, we were saying, right, if it comes in a gallon, right, exactly what they said. If it comes in a gallon, you had to stop drinking. It's probably R&R.
Yeah. And we were right.
Rich and rare.
Rich and rare. Oh, so rare. Guys, I flew down to see my folks February 2019, picked up my eldest son. My dad asked me to go grocery shopping for him. I said, sure. I got his food list and the alcohol list. One was longer than the other, and one filled up an entire shopping cart. I'll let you pick which. But it was during that trip that I got to teach my kid about alcohols that come in plastic bottles, R&R being one of them. I flew back to California 4 months later to attend his funeral. Myself, a whiskey drinker, nearly wrenches at the thought and smell of alcohol now. I've been sober ever since. R&R is just bad stuff. Anything is in excess, but especially that. That from Squirrel. What else we got here? Oh, this is a nice one. I mean, it ends up being a positive story anyway. Guys, my son should not be here as far as why he shouldn't be here.
All right.
At 14, he started complaining about not feeling well. He never complains. Bring him to the hospital, and they said, it's just constipation. They prescribed him Miralax. Within 2 weeks, we had to take him back to the hospital 3 times. Same diagnosis. One day while I was at work, my mom called and said, he's crying, can't walk. Doctors told her to call 911, take him in, look at my son, and said, we're not going to transport a 14-year-old kid with a bellyache. So they escorted my son to my car. While he was screeching in pain, I brought him back to the hospital, and they said the same thing. I said, I am not leaving here until he is better. So they shrugged their shoulders and said, well, we can do a CAT scan, I guess. Doctors came back with his head hanging low and said, well, what we thought was backed up stool-wise is an extremely large blood clot in his abdomen,
Jesus.
And he has one in each leg.
Wow.
So after 4 days of stress, they were able to get it somewhat under control. While in the hospital, KISW sent him a wonderful care package at the time. After 1 year, it was discovered he had a blood clotting disorder. He's 19 today, in a university, and doing great with prescribed medication.
Hope he's at LSU.
That from Rebecca Lee. And let's see, do we have any more here? This one says, a new listener. Says, Ola Bacholas, I am Nevada Matt from Northern California. This is a long story for my name, but I found you guys when you were on nights in Sacramento. I've been stuck in a room at work now where no one talks, so podcasts are my way of life, and check you guys out on radio.com. Finally caught up on a lot of the old podcast. I just want to thank you guys because you make me feel normal with this crazy life I live. Growing pot, playing with booger sugar, and living my best life I can with COVID. So he's got booger sugar and COVID. Thank you, Men's Room. It sucks I'm stuck playing catch-up instead of hearing you live, so I'll call in if I can. You guys make my government job in a quiet room better every day. A shout-out to Nevada Matt from California would be badass. And sorry for my 10 beers deep rant. My 3-year-old finally laid down, and Daddy now gets his time.
I dig it.
Yeah, P.S. if you have an address, I can send you some pot, too. I'll send you some of my wife's strains. The one tonight definitely makes you feel a little bit strange. That from Matt.
Now, the men's room wants to know who sucks less?
Yay! Time for Who Sucks Less. Tina Thrill Hill, you bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. All of them suck to some or certain degree, but it's up to us to determine out of the 3 stories, which one sucks the least.
Yeah, and there's pretty simple stuff here, and I do the best I can to make sure that all 3 stories have a certain common theme. That way, it's really about the behavior, the decision-making behind the people, if you will. And as we established earlier, when you asked, what's the nature of these stories, I just said, look, it's a case where in all 3 stories, each person has done their duty. Now let's begin in New York City, where a man came up to a woman, a complete stranger, and tried to shove a bag of feces down her pants. This happened on the Upper East Side. So in case you think you misunderstood, you didn't. He walked up to a woman and tried to shove a bag of feces down her pants. This is about 6 o'clock on Monday evening. 27-year-old woman was walking along 74th Street between 1st and York Avenues when the suspect came up from behind her, grabbed her waist, and tried to shove the bag of feces down her pants. The man also grabbed the woman's butt. Now, it's not known if the feces in the bag were from a person or an animal. I'm not sure that it matters at that point, but police released surveillance video showing the woman struggling with the man and finally escaping him. The man appears to pull off a glove and throw it into the street as he runs off. He has not been caught, still at large. So he randomly walks up to a woman in New York City, has a bag of poop, tries to shove it in her pants. We now go to Florida, where court officials say a man charged with burglary, he defecated during his criminal trial and then tried to throw his feces at the judge. The Miami Herald reports that 33-year-old Dorleans Philidor, he was sitting in a wheelchair next to the Miami-Dade Circuit Court Judge Lisa Welsh when officials say he tried to throw his excrement at her. The good news is it didn't reach her. But Philidor, when he was making this motion, he yelled, and I quote, "It's protein. It's good for you." Witnesses say dozens of corrections officers responded and the trial was moved to while the courtroom was sanitized. Now, Miami-Dade County Circuit Court spokeswoman Eunice Sigler, she says Philidor also defecated on himself in the holding cell before the trial. Jurors were subsequently acquitted him of a burglary charge. So while he was there on trial, he ended up getting acquitted. However, he still faces another trial in a grand theft auto case, and it is unclear whether he'll face any charges involving feces, although I would think he would.
Jesus.
Not because you pooped yourself, but because you tried to throw it at someone. That changes the game entirely, right? And now we go to Canada. They say it appears to be a not-so-funny case of bathroom humor. They're investigating an incident of a man who defecated in a toilet inside of a hardware store. Unfortunately, it was a display toilet inside of the hardware store. The deuce-dropping episode, police say, happened on a Wednesday afternoon, approximately 3:40 in the afternoon. Police say they were notified by staff at the store that an unknown man had entered the building and did the dirty deed in the display toilet. Police say the suspect has not been identified. He, too, got away. So again,
I understand that if you're like a 3-year-old kid and you'll know better and you gotta go and you
got a toilet.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. He went in, pooped in the toilet, and then left. So we have the man in New York City who, for reasons I cannot possibly begin to fathom, tried to shove a bag of feces down the pants of a stranger. We have the guy in Florida. Now, he was already on trial. He's in a wheelchair. He poops his pants and tries to fling his poop at the judge. He does miss her. And then we have in Canada where someone went into the business during operational hours, pooped in their display toilet and left.
I guess that one sucks the least. I realize you shouldn't poop in a display toilet.
That's a good thing to realize.
Probably have some mental issues.
See, I think all of these that people might mental issues. I think the guy in Canada that pooped in the display toilet. Keep in mind, he walked into the hardware store, dropped a deuce in the display toilet, obviously a display toilet, and rolled out. I think he did it. I'm guessing it's a guy and he's between 18 and 24. Like, at that age, I could see myself having done something like that.
Right, so the first guy tries to stuff a bag of poop down a woman's pants.
That is correct.
On the subway.
No, she's just walking down the street.
All right, the second guy.
The second guy's in Florida. Now, he's in a wheelchair. I don't know what's wrong with him or if anything's wrong with him, but he's in a wheelchair. He's sitting next to the judge. He poops in his pants, then reaches his hands in his pants and attempts to throw his, as he says, good for you protein turd at the judge, but misses.
Right, and then the last guy goes into a hardware store.
Poops in the display toilet.
Well, hear me out.
Okay. All right.
So the guy trying to stuff the poop in the lady's pants.
Yes.
That's just weird and assault.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with both of those.
And then I would say the guy that sucks the second most is the guy that pooped in the display toilet because somebody has to clean it. Now, the guy who flung his poo...
At the judge.
And I'm going to go back to Training Day.
Okay.
There's a famous scene in that where the guy talks about the one guy put peanut butter down there and he pulls it out and takes a bite.
Yeah.
And fools the judge. And they're like, hey, if you can work the system, you can work the system.
Sure.
So I'm thinking maybe this guy, instead of whatever crime he did, he was trying to go for like the crazy plea.
I think he was too. That's my guess. Either you're actually crazy or you're trying to convince people you're crazy.
Right, he's trying to work that angle. So he's like, all right, I'll crap in my pants and then throw it at the judge.
Right, there was no confrontation that led up to this, right? You know, it wasn't something where he's bickering back and forth with the judge. They were just there. The trial's about to begin, and he decides to do this. So either he is crazy or he's gaming the system. But either way, I don't know. See, I feel like display hardware store toilet guys the least. It's not great. I don't support it. I don't think it's fantastic.
I think that sucks the least.
But I think it sucks. And look, I know somebody's got to clean it up. But if I work at that hardware store, my thought is I'm not cleaning it up. We're taking the toilet and putting it in the dumpster.
Yeah, I mean, that's another good point, right? It's a display toilet.
Display toilet.
I'm sure they have other toilets.
You sure do.
I can understand the ability to be able to use a toilet if it's a toilet. I don't know where you got a bag of feces. Unless you went up and picked out. If it's yours, that's weird. You pooped in a bag.
He tried to put a bag of poop in a woman's pants. No matter what he does, it's weird. I mean, everything about that.
The fact that you can poop your pants in court and then throw it at a judge, that's amazing. Remember, we did that thing where we put the Depends on and did a show and tried to use the bathroom. It's impossible. So to me, it's like anywhere, the toilet makes sense because it's still something mentally that you can work with.
There's a trigger there.
Even if there's no water in it, whatever, I mean, you could still use the bathroom. The other two just blow my mind. If it is, in fact, the guy's own fecal matter in a bag, think about how hard it would be to poop in a bag.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess for like a medical thing, I don't know. You ever had to poop in a cup?
Yep.
Did you do it?
Would I poop in a cup?
Or that's what I'm saying. Did you ever have to poop in a cup?
No, I had to do a little swab thing with a little stick.
All right.
A little popsicle stick. And then mail in my poop.
Wasn't sure if they handed you a cup and said, go to town.
I think swab, I bet you they started with a cup and said, hey, Doc, I got a better idea. How about a swab?
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's impressive either way.
It is.
In a bad way.
I'm saying the guy in the hardware store sucks at least.
I agree. And I think it's a prank.
Coming up, we will drink, we will toast with a shot of the day. You are listening to The Men's Room.
New on Curiosity Stream, she was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated road solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
You're in the men's room. 99.9 KISW and KISW HD1 Seattle.
For whatever reason you need a drink, good news. Coming up, we'll drink and toast with a shot of
Thank God, man.
Nice. Hey, we do have your headlines on the way 1 hour from now, but first, quick check-in with Mike Hawk and some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
All right, there's a squirrel terrorizing people in New York and even bit a woman that ended up bleeding.
Oh, they've been on a rampage for about a month now.
The squirrels?
At the same park in Queens.
What kind of rampage? Like, what do they do? If I walk into the park, what do they come over and attack you? Or
Pretty much.
Yep.
Really?
Jump upon you and begin scratching and biting.
Mm-hmm. What the hell's going on with these squirrels?
I don't know. There's a whole pack of them. They're warning people to stay out of that park.
New year, new them.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Stay out of the park. Squirrel Park. That's right.
It's our park now, dog.
Mm-hmm. A man in Florida was arrested after he rode his airboat through the streets.
I'm wondering, like, one of those, like a hovercraft? Like
my guess,
I think so.
Those
one of those
big fans on the back
right.
thing?
I think it's might even be on the bottom, isn't it? They got a big fan underneath them that kind of treats it like a hovercraft. Like it blows upward.
Maybe
that's the fan on the back.
Yeah, but his, because he's going, and they didn't say the streets are flooded, so, because I kept looking at the story, like, all right.
How in the world?
Taking it down the street, but I want to say he's like throwing fireworks at cops and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Guy's a loony.
I'm wrong, but I always thought airboats were just the one in the back, but I don't know how it would work on a street.
I have no idea.
Well, maybe that's why it's in the news, is because he's actually got an airboat that's going on the street.
Maybe that's also why they call it a boat.
He's hydroplaning enough to where, yeah, exactly.
Miles, you've been to Florida a lot.
I've never seen that. It's more like swamp life.
All right.
You know,
right, depending where you are in Florida.
I mean, I guess if you have a big lake somewhere, but Okeechobee is about the biggest it gets.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're all sitting down for this one. A new study found that people that travel a lot are happier than people that don't.
Really?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are unhappy this past year.
That's right. This might be why.
Yeah, going around and seeing things.
2020 might have upset people a little bit there. Stuffed inside. Hidden Valley is making a vegan ranch.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I love regular ranch, but why shouldn't the vegans enjoy Hidden Valley Ranch?
Because they've chosen not to enjoy food.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
That's very smart of Hidden Valley to do that.
Why not?
Like, we can hook you up. Do you think when they finally introduced this product, if we did a taste test, we'd be able to tell?
Yes.
Okay.
Just because vegans have been, if they're true vegans, they've been out of the ranch game for so long that it'll be like, oh, thank God it's back. Whereas people, just like the veggie burgers, the veggie dogs.
Right. People
if you've been away from it for a while, right. If you've been away from it for a while, it tastes better. It's like, oh my God, finally.
That's a good point.
If you're still on it, here's our veggie steak. No, that's carrots all lumped into a big old mass.
It's like the Impossible Burger, Impossible Whopper, whatever it was.
Right.
Like, it wasn't bad. But the way they did the TV commercials was very inaccurate, where I'm like, no, you can tell the difference in one bite. You know instantly.
But I think it's different with, like, vegan sweets are harder to tell.
Okay, if I've actually had like a vegan cake, and I would have had no idea.
Yeah, I think we all ate some like a week ago or a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
No kidding.
Yeah, that birthday cake that was in here. Turns out it was vegan.
I thought you were talking about the Oreos we had.
Oh. But I'm just saying, like, I'm with you. I don't mind an Impossible Burger. You can obviously tell the difference.
Sure. Right.
But I'm like, maybe with sweets, it's hard to tell. So maybe it's the same way with condiments.
There you go.
We will find out.
It's bad. It's not terrible, but quit telling me that it is this, that it tastes just like this.
That's the only difference.
The Impossible Burger is great. I absolutely love it. I endorse it. Everybody go out there and give it a shot. It's great. Don't tell me it tastes just like a burger.
Because it doesn't.
No, it's close enough that it's not dead meat.
The only thing that ever was remotely different but close that didn't suck so bad. Did you ever have sizzling?
No.
God, I remember that.
Was like this. It wasn't bacon. It was like pressed bacon, but it was still made of meat.
Okay.
So it really didn't taste like bacon, but it didn't. It
didn't taste bad.
It just tasted like sizzling.
It didn't taste like veggie
which was
bacon.
very unique, but it didn't suck.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't bacon.
We eat a lot of sizzling lettuce and tomatoes.
Do they still make sizzling?
I've never seen it.
Maybe the process by which they made it is like, we should stop.
Right.
VD.
It's like all the parts, and then they kind of mold it, and then you fry it like that.
Yay.
Oh, yeah, it's 50% leaner.
Right.
A man that set fire to a hotel in Pennsylvania said that he did it because he was curious and bored.
I mean, at least he's honest.
Yeah. Sounds like a great idea.
Idle hands on the devil's playground.
Yeah.
I mean, but doesn't that make you feel better than if you said, I'm about to kill someone, or I want to burn it because I hate the owners? You go like, man, this is a really stupid reason, but perhaps the best reason you could give.
Nothing malicious. I just wanted to burn it down.
Right. Like, okay, you're just an idiot.
You're just going to have a coat that makes you hug yourself a lot. Firefighters in Wisconsin rescued a deer that fell through the frozen river.
Oh.
I feel like deer are always doing that.
Them crazy
Them
deers.
and the moose.
Walking on ice with hooves, not the greatest idea in the first place.
No. We know
they
that.
can't even walk once they get up on the ice.
Right.
I mean, basically all they're doing is just ripping apart their hips.
How long
You have to get hip replacement surgery with those kind of splits going on.
How long do you think this deer was like half in this lake before they rescued it? Because I'm like, generally speaking, I don't know where I'd be where I'm like, there's a deer sinking in the ice.
Let me call the fire department.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that had to be a while. Obviously not long enough to where the deer perished from being in the ice, which, you can just sit there for hours on end, but yeah, I don't know, man. A survey asked what counts as, quote-unquote, being in a relationship, distinguishing the difference between being in a relationship and dating. What you got, Ted?
I don't. Trust me, that's that conversation you don't want to have. Unless you want to be in a relationship.
Well, we're going to have that conversation, Ted, because I actually have 10 things that I'm going to ask you guys if it counts as being in a relationship, and I'll see where we all line up. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
So let's go random here on the list. You've changed your Facebook status to in a relationship. Does that count as being in a relationship?
I would think so. That's what you said.
Well, the one person might say that, but the other person goes, I ain't in a relationship.
Exactly. So if one half is doing this, you're dating somebody, then all of a sudden in a relationship. Are you thinking, okay, are we like boyfriend, girlfriend here, or
I'm thinking you're in a relationship.
I think if you put in a relationship, you're in a relationship. No, I also think you can be in a relationship and just have no status.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I would do that.
40% of people surveyed said that, yes, that does indeed count you in as a relationship.
Right, I mean, there's a term. It's called Facebook official.
Right.
There you go. Exactly.
And also, you said look, anyone could be lying or be wrong, but if assuming that you mean what you say, I would assume if you said I'm in a relationship, that you're in a relationship.
All right. How about, let's just knock out the obvious ones here. Been dating for a year or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say you're in a relationship.
Okay. 84% of people said yes, that does mean that you're in a relationship.
Yeah.
Been dating for a year or more. How about 6 months or more? Back it up just a little bit.
If you're dating, aren't you technically in a relationship?
Well, no, because you could be dating people.
Dating a couple different people.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. An exclusive relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say 6 months,
I'm with you. 6 months to me, you're in a relationship.
Because you're putting in work, and you already know what you don't like about them, and you're willing to tolerate it, right?
6 months, drop it or get off the pot, right?
Right, that's about my thought.
Kind of where the cutoff is there. You agree not to date other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that's not higher up on the list because only 70% of people said that, yes, that means you're dating. I'd like to meet the 30% of people that say, we agreed not to date other people, but we are not in a relationship.
That's called celibacy. I mean,
That is kind of weird.
Right?
Because that's always that thin line. It's
if we're not in a relationship, then I'm going to see other people.
Exactly.
Why should it matter to you?
Right. Exactly. We're now exclusive. It's just you and me here.
Right.
This is a relationship we're having. You both said, I love you.
I hope so.
Yeah, you shouldn't be saying
I
that to
hope
people
so.
you're just dating.
Right.
Yeah, well, the thing is that loving somebody is different than being in love with somebody, I think, is the argument there. Because only 60% of people said that counts as being in a relationship.
But how many times do you say to someone who's not an immediate family member, I love you, right? But you don't mean I'm in love with, like, I can't imagine saying, hey, man, like, I'd say to you guys, like, hey, I love you, brother.
Right.
It's understood.
Right.
But I feel like if I'm saying this to a chick that I'm also having sex with, right, and say, hey, I love you.
Now, granted, yes, it does carry more weight if I'm dating the person that I say it to. Obviously, that carries a certain implication. However, I'm giving you guys the unbiased technical aspect of it.
Okay. I would say yes. Assuming they said it to each other, I would assume you're probably exclusive. You're in a relationship.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, the trouble is, we're dating, we're not dating other people.
Right.
But it takes me a minute to kind of get there to say that.
And the problem is, once you open that can, it's done. You've opened the can. Even if you just say it offhandedly because you're very, very fond of this person. Yeah, I love you too. You're in. You're sold.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, that's like the final straw of, like, we're not just, like, this is a relationship.
Right. Gavel is dropped. End of court case.
That's it. Right. The bell rang. It's closing time.
The fat lady hath sung. It's done. You have a drawer at their place.
Sure.
I would assume I'm in a relationship at that point.
You can be dating somebody and let them keep some clothes at your house.
Okay, we
I'll
got
just put Reese cups in there. Well, private stash.
So it kind of fits. 58% of people said that counts as being in a relationship, so that makes sense for this room. But I agree with you. You know what? If you are definitely on the way to being in a relationship if you have a drawer at their place. However, maybe we're just having fun. You know, I spend the night from time to time. I like to have an underwear drawer over there so I can change.
Or it might just be like the consistent booty call.
Right.
And maybe you both like sports. So
Boom.
it's like, why shouldn't you be comfortable on Sunday morning, too?
Exactly. Leave my PJs over here so I can wake up, we can watch Red Zone. All righty.
These are getting real personal, Mike.
They are, man, because we're getting down into the kind of the uncharted territory here. You've had sex.
No.
Does having sex count as being in a relationship?
No.
Okay. Ted, you're thinking awful hard.
Well, I mean, I guess if it's a religious reason, but yeah, you can have sex without being in a relationship, but
you can have sex with that same person multiple times. You had that blonde chick before we moved to Seattle, right?
Oh, good point.
In no way you're in a relationship.
No.
She did not think you were in a relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
was fair.
If you guys are going to have sex, it's with each other, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, all right.
Miles, how about you, buddy? You have sex with somebody, are you in a relationship?
I mean, at that moment you are.
Having relations. All right, 17%. 17% said it there. You've been on 3 dates. Are you officially in a relationship with 3 dates?
No. And I'm throwing a red flag if she says that.
No kidding. 3 dates is way too soon.
To say a relationship?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, my God.
And all of us.
Settle down. 8% of people said that, so don't worry. You're in good company.
All right. I know you didn't make the list, Mike.
Don't blame me, guys. These are just the results. These are, does this count as being in a relationship? You've been to their house.
No. Oh, my God. No.
Feels like depending on the person, that is the next step, though, right?
It might be, like, look, man, it's one thing to get on a plane. It's another thing to land in your destination.
Sure.
So, sure, I've boarded the plane by going to your house. We still don't know how the flight's going to be. Mm-hmm. This thing might burn and drop from the sky.
But maybe this is a very personal person that's a very private person. You know, every time we get together, we grab a hotel room. You're not coming over to my place yet. This is the next stage here. This is where I'm comfortable enough with you to bring you over to my place.
See, I feel like that stage would be like meeting the family.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is that on
their
list?
house? Yeah. No. I'm trying to see if it's you brought them home, and to me that is introducing them to the family. This is actually bringing them to your house. That's the verb.
Oh, hell no. It's not a relationship.
I mean, that's the same person we're talking about. Like, I was at her house plenty, but like she's like, "You want to come meet the whole family?" And I was like, "Oh,
exactly." You'd be like, "No, man, come on."
8% of people said that yes, that does actually count as a relationship right there. And then the last one here, the bottom tier answer here: you've been on a single date.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, we are officially
one date
in a relationship. 5% of people. So now I'm trying to figure out how the single date gets 5% of the people to say we are officially in a relationship.
Well, you have to
understand, 5% of the people are stalkers.
5% of those people have been on many first dates and very few second.
5% of those people are in high school.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Because you know that there is that huge hierarchy in high school. Like as soon as they went to a movie, they're dating.
Oh my God.
They kissed.
Yeah, I mean, and I could fathom like 5% of people being like, we went on a first date, I knew we were going to get married.
Okay, but that's always retrospect.
Yeah.
You know, they always tell you that
That's
later.
a good point.
How many times has your buddy ever
Right.
said to you, dude, I went on a date, how did it go? It was great. We're in a relationship. Because I would sit them down.
Yeah.
Like, bro, most first dates should be good because everyone's still full of crap. It's like a
Right.
job interview.
Right.
Your boss is never as nice as he pretends, and you're never as competent as
You're
you sold
seeing
yourself.
somebody hopefully at their best on their
Right.
very first date. You're hearing all the great things about them,
Right.
everything that they've accomplished, everything that they aspire to be.
I love puppies. I like walking on the
You
beach.
bet.
No one ever says, so what is it that you hate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tell
When
me
you talk
something
about
negative
things
about
you like,
yourself.
you tend to sound happy.
The
So,
thing-
yeah.
You can even load that question. Tell me something negative about yourself. Well, I snore. Okay, there's a lot of terrible things about me.
I
but
have
snoring is
genital
not one.
warts. But that's the only knock.
Well, I had 'em.
Not for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe.
No, they're about a month.
I recently had crabs.
Put some duct tape on there, suffocate them.
You'll be all right.
Back to some good news stories here. A doctor in Michigan has been driving hundreds of miles in his own truck to deliver doses of the vaccine.
All right, man.
Making sure the
Good for
distribution
him.
happens, making sure that it gets out there. A small coffee shop in Kentucky is joining the other big corporate brands to actually give frontline workers free coffee.
All right. They could use
They need it.
They
man.
deserve it.
They absolutely need
What?
it and deserve it.
He's one guy running a small shop.
Yeah.
Like, it's good. I'm glad he's doing it,
Right,
but I
right.
think it's a little easier for giant corporation shops to give out
Well,
all
sure.
the free coffee.
It was just that was part of the story. It was just saying, you've heard of Starbucks doing it, you've heard of like Dunkin' doing it.
All right.
This guy's he's a small time owner, and he's like, all right, yeah, even you guys, frontline
And
owners,
look,
come on in.
look,
You're all
you're going to
drinking
go
for
in
free.
there. Other people are going to go in there because they respect what you're doing. They're going to spend their money. You're going to go. You might get a Danish, or you know what I mean,
Right.
a muffin with it, or whatever. You'll
A
tip.
Danish or a
Da-
muffin?
Oh, look at me.
Yeah. Would you like a scone?
I want a ham and cheese croissant, please.
I want a goddamn donut, homie.
Whatever you got.
In Miles' defense, Danishes are delicious.
They are. It's just not my first thought when I walk in.
You have cheese
not.
or fruit?
Yeah.
Oh, I go fruit all the way.
All right.
Sorry, the cheese is just not worth it. I go for the fruit.
I don't like real fruit in my stuff, including, inside of the orange peel. Oh my God, there's an orange in here. I don't want
I
this.
thought it was going to be chocolate. My British friend lied to me.
Damn it! A porch pirate in Canada almost got away after getting caught in the act, but you will never guess what stopped him.
What did stop
I
it?
will tell you all about it 1 hour from now.
Thank you, Mike Hawk. Headlines are coming up 1 hour from now. In the meantime, let's get a contestant on the line for Profile. This will take caller 9 at 206-421-ROCK. And we made it to drinking time.
New on Curiosity Stream.
Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean you can't.
Watch Earth's greatest minds forge our path to a better tomorrow. It's engineering the future. And Jaws, Star Wars, The Godfather, E.T. The biggest movies have even bigger music. From King Kong to The Dark Knight. See how musicians scored Hollywood's greatest hits on great film composers' music of the movies. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.